Hello and welcome to another video for Midas Touch Toys, Games, Collectibles. And today, well, we're looking at something that's now quite old. Now, these figures are becoming increasingly more difficult to find, especially in this mint, unopened condition. Some more than others. This particular one we're looking at today is from the Gerry Andersons TV series Space Precinct 2040, which was a sci-fi and police television series based out in space. Now, the series features the American actor Ted Shackelford as a former New York Police Department detective, Patrick Brogan, and now a lieutenant with the Dementor City Police Force on the planet Altar in the star system of Epsilon Eridani, I should say. Now, Brogan and his partner Jack Haldane, who was played by Rob Youngblood. Now, they must adjust to living in another star system and investigating crimes being committed by aliens as well as humans. Now, also featuring was the Danish actress Simone Bendix as Officer Jane Castle, which was Haldane's love interest. Now, Brogan, he was happily married with a wife and daughter and son who relocated with him to Dementor City. Now, most of the remaining characters in the police force and the aliens come to that, the villains or aliens, whatever, they basically were actors wearing very complex makeup, which included elements of puppetry, which were there to depict, obviously, the alien races. Incidentally, Brogan's badge number was 2040, which was used in the opening credits, resulting in a common misconception that the show is set in 2040, which it wasn't. That was just his badge. So there was only one series of the Space Precinct made, 24 episodes in that series, and the series had a budget of £20 million, and it aired from the 3rd of October 1994 to the 24th of July 1995. Mixed reception, popular to some degree and not to others, so unfortunately it didn't get a green light for a second season. Anyway, lots of very interesting characters that appeared in the series, and this particular one we're looking at today is of Captain Podley, who was the captain of the Dementor Police Department, and this is the card that it comes on, and it says Gerry Anderson, Dementor City Police Department, Space Precinct 2040, and you've got the Captain Podley credit card there, a Space Precinct, maybe ID card, I think that is not a credit card, but it is credit card size. And it says Captain Podley, DCPD, C16U41M, Space Precinct, and there is an image of Captain Podley from the TV series, which is pretty much the same image as what you got on the left with him holding his pistol. Captain Podley, and you've got the figure and the accessories. At the very bottom, again, you've got the his DCP, Dementor City Police Department number, which is C1641M. Okay, so that's the front of the card. So let's spin the card around to the back and see what we got printed on the reverse. Okay, so I turn the card around to the back, and this is what we got on the back. So it says, again, Gerry Andersons Space Precinct 2040, and it shows you all the characters and the figures in this particular series. So you've got Lieutenant Brogan 1, which is him wearing his jacket. Officer Haldane, you got Captain Podley, you got Slow-Mo, you got Sergeant Freddo, Officer Castle. Now, there was also two versions of Officer Castle, one with her jacket on, one without her jacket. You got Officer Took, Lieutenant Brogan 2. Now, Lieutenant Brogan 2 was one that he was also in his shirt sleeve with no jacket on. Officer Oren, you got the Cyborg, you got Snake, and you've got Morgo, who are the villains, alien villains. So you also got the police bike, and you've got the police cruiser there, the electronic police cruiser, which was suitable to take the figures, as was the police bike. Okay, so just below that you got the please keep the address for all future references. Caution, not suitable for children under 3 years, or sorry, 36 months, or due to small parts. And you've got all the licensing and vivid information at the bottom there, and all the relevant logos. And it's made in Macau, licensed exclusively by Merton Films or Gerry Anderson. Okay, that's the back of the card. Let's turn the card back around to the front and let's have a look at the figure himself. Okay, so I've turned the card back around to the front and I've zoomed in on the figure, so you can see the face of the figure itself, as well as the images of Captain Podley as he appeared in the TV series. Now, I must say, the sculpting of this figure is pretty much exact. The only thing that I'd say is that the colouring of the face is slightly off in comparison to the colours that his face was in the TV series. You can see it's kind of like a pale greeny effect on the figure, whereas on the actual character itself, he was more like a flesh colour. So that's the only criticism. Other than that, the face is absolutely spot on. As you can see, the image just above his head there from the ID card. I mean, it's absolutely spot on. I mean, yes, I know it was complex makeup, so it could look like puppetry, but it is, the design is absolutely fantastic. And there he is in his outfit, which is his shirt sleeves, and there is his badge on his chest there, and he's wearing his blue tie, which runs right way down his shirt, and then he's in his trousers and his boots at the bottom. And he obviously comes complete with accessories, which is his computer terminal and his white stick. It looks like a pointer stick, maybe. I'm not sure what that is, but there we go. That comes with him. Maybe it's one of those sticks that you stick under your arm and walk around with, like the brigadiers used to wear. Okay, so that is the figure. Now, as with all these figures, they all were the same size. So I'm just going to get some measurements of this one. And he is about 9, maybe 10 centimeters, which is about 3 3/4 to 4 inches tall. If we measure across, we're looking at 3 centimeters across, and again we're looking at about 1.5 centimeters, maybe 2 centimeters top way, 2 centimeters in depth. So that is the figure. Now, articulation wise, wasn't a tremendous amount of articulation on these figures, and obviously because this figure is still enclosed, but I do have my Officer Haldane figure from my own personal collection, and the articulation on these figures are pretty much all the same. So you've got the head, which turns round. You also got the tops of the arms which move, and you've got the elbow joints that move. There's no real turning of the hands, but the hands are quite soft, so you can move them slightly, but otherwise you've just got the 2 points of articulation on each arm. There's no movement at the waist, but you do have the movement at the tops of the legs and the knee joints. Again, quite soft, so you can adjust the legs to move from side to side a little bit, but they're not articulated. So we've got articulation, we've got 1 2 3 4 5 6, only 7 points of articulation on these figures, which is okay. I mean, it's not a tremendous amount of articulation, but you know, for the time and the size of these figures, remember these are the smaller of all the figures, but for the time, 1994, it's not bad amount of articulation on these figures, because some of the early figures really didn't have much articulation. You were talking maybe 5 points of articulation if you were lucky, until the editors started to add in the elbow movements and the knee joint movements. So 2 4 6 8 9 points of articulation is not bad at all. Okay, now you're going to say to me, how well did these figures do back in the day? Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think these figures done as well as had hoped. And based on all of the previous Gerry Anderson shows, one would have expected these figures to sell an awful lot better than what they actually did. Maybe the TV series wasn't as popular as a lot of the others that Gerry Anderson had done, and of course maybe the airtime was wrong, because I believe when it aired in the UK it was aired at lunchtimes, during the week at lunchtimes, or just after the news, in the early afternoon slot. So it probably wasn't in the best slot, and a lot of kids would have been at school. I don't remember seeing this particular TV series on the kids programs at weekends, so I think it was probably more adult geared, hence the reason why it didn't appear on the kids programs, and why it was not shown during the kids TV. So in the early afternoons when they get home from school, or in the mid afternoons I should say, or late afternoons when they get home from school, and then on the Saturday TV times for kids. So yeah, I think it was certainly a more adult themed series, and obviously it was live action with complex makeup and puppetry, rather than the Gerry Anderson shows that we became used to. So I think that's the reason why the figures were nowhere near as popular as what the ones of like Thunderbirds have been, Joe 90, and so on. So okay, let's move forward now to 2025. So we're moving forward 31 years. Do these figures come up for sale very often on the platforms? Well, they still do come up for sale on the platforms, some more regularly than others, but nowhere near as commonly as they used to. Now, if you went back maybe 5 or 10 years ago, you could pick these figures up on the platforms for next to nothing. There was loads of them, absolutely loads of them being offered out for sale. And they were all pretty much like this one, mint sealed in the packets. Nowadays, a particular figure you're looking for, you really need to have a good look for it, because they don't come up for sale as often as they used to, and obviously because now they're becoming harder and harder to find, the prices have gone up considerably compared to what they used to be. So as I say, you could used to pick these up for £2 or £3 on the platforms. Now you're probably somewhere in the region of between 15 to 40, depending on which figure you're looking for, and the rarity of the actual figure itself. I think the original release there was big quantities of these figures that were produced, so hence the reason why there was so many around for a while. But obviously now, after all this time, 30 odd years on, obviously most of those figures would have been sold and been used, maybe played with, maybe displayed, I don't know, but certainly the quantities that are being offered for sale now on the platforms are very, very small compared to what they used to be. And as I say, prices vary considerably as well, depending on which figure you are looking for. You don't get me wrong, you can pick up loose figures. There's quite a lot of loose figures that are still being offered on the platforms, so they have been used or displayed or played with or what have you. So there is quite a few loose ones. You could probably find any of the figures you wanted quite easily loose, but trying to find them mint on a sealed card like this one is nowhere near as easy as they used to be. And I don't know about you, but for me it's all about condition. If I have a figure, I want a pristine figure to go into my collection. I don't want one that's been played with, maybe chipped or bits missing. I want a complete figure with the accessories and everything that I can put into my display, hence the reason why I always go for new. And I know there's a lot of collectors out there, a lot of you out there have the same opinion as me. So, but anyway, enough of that. If you are going to buy on a platform, do be careful. I'll tell you again, some people's idea of very good condition could be somebody else's idea of acceptable condition. There's a big scope of differences there between people's opinions, and also some of the platforms use stock images and stock descriptions, so what you're looking at might not be what you actually receive. If it doesn't say new on the platform and it says use, click that use link, because if there's no new, it automatically goes to the order will automatically go to the cheapest used item, and that may very well be what you do not want to buy. So do have a good look, click that use link if there's no new ones available, and read what you're about to order to save any disappointments afterwards. And it wouldn't be the fault of the seller, and it wouldn't be the fault of the buyer. It's just the way the platforms work. They're stupidly designed to automatically go to a used one when you're trying to buy new. Why they do that, I have no idea, but anyway, that's some of the platforms. Now, alternatively, you don't need to go through any of that rigmarole. You can come straight to us at Midas Touch Toys Games Collectibles, where what you see in front of you is exactly the item you would receive should you wish to purchase it. We don't believe in stock images, we don't believe in stock descriptions, and the only item you can order at the time is the one that you are looking at. If we have different conditions, they are listed under separate products, so they cannot be mixed up. And as of today, this particular item, together with a whole collection of Space Precinct figures, which were bought from a shop, a closed down shop. We had a whole case of these figures, which are now being made available to our customers on the Midas Touch website, which you can get to very simply by clicking the link below. It will take you straight to the website, where you'll be able to find this and many other vintage Gerry Anderson items, and many other vintage toys, games and collectibles. Come to that, there's over 10,000 products currently available on the website for you to view and purchase at your leisure. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button, because we're uploading videos for every new item that goes into the website. There will be something for everybody, and I'm absolutely positive this is something that you're not going to want to miss, because we literally have thousands and thousands of new items which we're shooting videos for and uploading on a daily basis. So if there is something in particular you're looking for, something older you've never been able to find, something quirky you might want to buy for a friend, or perhaps just something from your childhood to help you reconsider those long lost childhood memories. So stay tuned, keep watching, because you never know the next item we upload could be that item you've been looking for. Okay, that is it for me on this particular item. I do hope you've enjoyed reviewing this wonderful vintage Gerry Andersons Space Precinct Captain Podley action figure with me. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you again next video. So bye for now.